Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a video on my recommendations, my picks for the new riders out there, those who just got their motorbike license in Singapore. Usually Singapore has 3 classes, 2B, 2A and Class 2. So my assumption is that you just passed your 2B license and know you're looking for a bike, and maybe this video can help you on picking out the right bike for you. From my experience of riding for about 2 years. Of course, this is a Class 2A bike, Super 4. But I had a Class 2B bike for a year before I changed to this, so maybe I can give you guys some inputs on that. That's where my experience of riding a Class 2B bike comes from. So yeah, let's get into the video. Okay, so the easiest answer to this question is just get whatever bike you want to get for your first bike. Okay, so that's of course the easiest answer. Get whatever you want and ride it, enjoy it. But then again, if you are like me, you have a lot of questions on the different type of bike you are looking at, and you can't really make a decision whether to go with the bike, what kind of bike to go with. So maybe my video can help you out on that. So yeah, let's get into those bikes that I'm going to be talking about. So first things first, you have to understand the kind of limitations that you have. So motorbikes are kind of designed for an average man, I would say, physique. The weight is not really much of an issue for bikes. Most bikes can handle any kind of weight that you throw at it, but height is going to be a major issue. Yeah, it's really a significant issue when it comes to choosing the right bike for you. So I have a lot of experience in this because for those who don't know me, I am relatively tall, lengthy individual. So I am actually about 193 centimeters tall. So that equals to about 6'2", 6'3". That's my height. So some bikes are definitely ruled out for me. So those bikes are going to be like okay, so from my experience, when I was looking at Class 2B bikes, I really wanted to get the MT-15. I like the way it looked and the way, basically how it looks but I couldn't get it. Main reason, I couldn't fit on the bike. So my legs are too long for an MT-15. So the MT-15 has like a cutting over here at the tank area. As such, my legs actually protrude out from the cutting, so I do not fit on the bike, and I can't change gears, I can't rear brake comfortably because of this issue. So right off the bat, some bikes are going to be ruled out just because you can't fit them. So that is a fact, and you have to accept that fact that if you really want something, but then again, if it doesn't fit you, that doesn't make sense, right? You shouldn't get the bike if it doesn't fit you. So that's the most important thing that you have to take note of before anything else, before choosing the right bike for you, is could you fit on the bike? So if you could fit on the bike, then you have a lot more options. You can choose what kind of bike you want to get. Okay, so you can choose, you have more options. So I would say if you are about 175, 180, or even like, it doesn't really matter, right? If you are 165 to about 17, 180, 185, wouldn't really matter. So almost any bike is going to fit you. Bikes are designed for the average person's height, which is around that range. Most bikes are going to be fitting you, and 2B bikes especially, as 2B bikes are relatively smaller compared to bigger bikes, so they are lighter and smaller, so they are going to be fitting you, no issue at all if you are in that height category. So if you're in the height category, don't worry about it. You can find any bike, you can basically get any bike. Now for the classes of bikes, the different types of styles, I would say, of motorcycles that a fresh Class 2B graduates can look forward to, and the kind of bikes, the different styles of bikes that are out there that you can consider. So first things first, the most easiest to handle, the most common is going to be your road bike. So standard bike which has handlebars, very neutral riding position, so not too laid back nor not too aggressive. That's going to be your road bikes. So road bikes, they have plenty of options, right? There are dime a dozen of road bikes out there for a Class 2B rider. My picks, my recommendation is going to be, once again, first of all, follow your height requirement if you can do it, and get any bike. So let's assume that you are within the average height range, so any bike is okay. My recommendation is going to be get at least 150cc and above bike, right? So right off the bat, I will rule out 125cc bikes. Even though they are pretty cheap out there, it's pretty affordable, I wouldn't recommend a 125cc for a beginner bike, just because it lacks power, right? So when you start learning at the school, a smaller cc bike is okay. You wouldn't hurt yourself. It's sufficient, right, to do your course and do some outside riding. But once you go to the road itself, when you get a bike and you ride it on a daily or whenever, you would want that extra power that can actually get you place to place, right, and get you out of sticky situations, and give you some fun as well. Because come on guys, let's admit it, motorbike riding is fun. 90% of riding motorcycles is because it's fun. So to have fun, you need at least a bit of power, and 125cc is just not going to cut it. Doesn't matter how light you are, because in 2B class, weight really makes a lot of difference. So the more you're heavy, the more you weigh, right, the performance is going to be affected. That's fact. The bike itself only weighs, most 2B bikes only weigh like from 100 to like 150, 160. Okay, maybe that's a bit too high, but yeah, it's within the low 100 range. So more often than not, your weight is going to be affected. But yeah, that aside, coming back to the road bikes. So 125cc is not going to cut it. Go for a bigger cc bike, so 150 or 200cc. So 150, I'll recommend maybe the CB 150 X Motion. So that is a good bike. It's a comfortable bike. I've seen a couple of friends riding it. I myself have sat on it. I never really rode it, but it was comfortable for me. 190 individual. But then again, it looks pretty small on me. Most 2B bikes, if not all, will look pretty small on me, but that doesn't matter. As long as you can ride it comfortably, then go for it. So CB 150 X Motion, that's one of my recommendations. If you want a more peppy, a more stronger engine, you can go for higher 200cc bikes. So 200cc bike, road bikes, I would recommend you can either go for the KTM Duke 200. KTM Duke 200 is a bike I owned, so I have ridden it, I've owned it. It's kind of like my second bike because of reasons I bought it, but I'm not going to get into the reasons today. But I had a KTM Duke 200 as well during my ownership of my Pulsar NS200. So speaking of that, Pulsar NS200 is also one of my recommendations. So it's a 200cc bike similar to the KTM Duke 200. It has plenty of power, plenty of torque for you to enjoy, not be restricted. So it really depends which one, right? The KTM Duke 200 is going to be much more torquier, so you're going to get a lot more initial power. It's going to be a lot more fun. It's like riding a mini supermoto scrambler type of bike. So you're going to get that peppy, low-end fun when you're riding a KTM Duke 200. I can attest to that. Pulsar NS200 is not going to be as peppy, I would say. Maybe about 80% lower than the KTM Duke 200. Even though they have pretty much similar engines, no, they actually share the engines. Both are built by the same company, Bajaj, right? In India, KTM Duke 200 are built there as well. So they actually share a common platform, the engine. But then the Duke 200 is a bit more tweaked. The KTM is a bit more tweaked to get that low-end grunt. So because of the low-end grunt, top speed suffers. So your NS200 is going to be much faster at the top speed, so it's going to have a higher top speed as compared to your Duke 200. But both bikes are amazing. Both bikes have really good power for a Class 2A bike. Class 2B bike, and I wholly recommend both of them. Okay, I can maybe do another video on my KTM Duke 200, how it rode and the maintenance and all that, but usually Bajaj and KTM bikes are going to be harder to get parts for, as compared to your regular Hondas and all that. Yeah. So we are still on road bikes. Another recommendation will actually be Yamaha FZ16. So FZ16 has been around for very long. You can get it in the cheap on Carousel or anywhere. So it's a good bike as well. My friend owned it. He rode it until the COE ended. I'm still surprised how it lasted. He was able to ride the bike for so long. It was falling apart. But then again, it was so reliable. Yamaha, right? It's a Japanese brand. If you go Japanese brand, most of the time it's pretty reliable. Actually lasted all the way until his COE ended. So props for that. Even when he bought it, it was not at the best of conditions, and he rode it and. Yeah, I think it's okay. It lasted for a year for him, and which was great. So that is also highly recommended for a road bike. So back to So maybe next one I will go on to talk about the next style of motorcycles. Say your sports motorcycles. So for sports motorcycles. You actually have a wide range as well, similar to the road bikes. So for sport style motorcycles, the most common one is going to be your R15. So a lot of young peeps, once they get their Class 2B license, they go out there and then they get themselves an R15, and go and hit the streets with the R15. So it's a okay looking bike. I have seen a lot of my friends ride it as well. It's okay. I've rode it myself, and for a 150cc sports bike, it's fine. But the riding position, it's pretty on the aggressive side. You're leaning forward and all that, and I don't really recommend new rider to actually go for a sport bike. It's not going to be a good experience for you to learn how to handle the bike and all that. You always lean down, and it's not really comfortable, right, for the long run. And as a new rider, you want to put in as much miles as possible, on the saddle. So having a road bike like this, it's a good comfortable handlebar. You can ride for long distances, not a problem. But R15, your back is going to start hurting, and it's going to be a pain in the ass to ride. Okay, for the next one, you can actually go for the KTM again. It's the RC200, KTM RC200. So similar to the Yamaha R15, it's going to have a very aggressive sitting position. So the aggressive sitting position, that's very common in the sports side of things. So you are leaned in, and the KTM RC200 shares the same engine as your Duke 200. From my understanding, I don't think there's any engine tweaks between them. They are same, both the same engines, I believe. So if you are just choosing, you want a more comfortable sitting position or you want a sporty sitting position, I think that's the only difference. I could be wrong, but that's from my understanding. That's the only difference. And other than that, you have sports bikes from Honda, the CB150R. My wife rode the CB150R, the 2014 model. In my opinion, it didn't have much power, but for her, she loved it because it was smooth as compared to the KTM I had initially bought for her. So she preferred the CBR 150R, which is the sports version of the CB150R. So she preferred it because of how smooth the power was. But I didn't like it. I thought it didn't have much power. That's why I recommend people to get a 200cc instead. But then again, it was a 2014 bike and had like 170,000 kilometers on it, so that could be a factor why I didn't like it, because the engine was not that new and didn't have much like power to it. Yeah. And then you have Suzuki as well. I believe it's a GXX 150R. That's the sports bike for Suzuki. Also never rode it, so I can't really comment on it, but you can get similar power figures, I believe, as the CBR 150. So that's that. And if you really want to go, balls deep into the Super Sports 2B, which I tell you, don't do it, because you are going to be upgrading to a 2A and Class 2 anyways. It's going to be the R15M. So unless you have a buttload of cash, which you don't like, or you just really want to get an R15M, no, go for it. Right? So you have like the quick shifter and ABS, a lot of all these aids that's going to be helping you. Not really be a better rider, but for you to push the bike to the limits. Safety is always good. So if you are into that, you can actually go for the R15M and flex on your friends. And then I think that's about it for the Super Sports in my recommendation list for Class 2B. Next one, you have your sport touring, or maybe touring. There's no sport touring actually in the Class 2B category, but your touring motorcycles can actually have a lot of options. There's two options from Honda. So Honda, you have the CB F150, I believe, CB150X. Yeah. Maybe I put the picture here. That's what it is, but I could be wrong. If it is, then I'll put it up, the actual text. That's one of the bike. That's a new one. It came out a few years ago. So you can get it. It's a good starter bike for you touring guys out there who like the touring starter motorcycles. Then you have the CB190X. So there's the Fight Hawk version. And then there's the other version. I can't think of it right now. So in fact, these were actually part of my considerations for getting for my Class 2B, because I am a tall lad, and touring bikes fit perfectly for taller individuals. So I was actually considering them, but then the power, in my opinion, is not there, because it's actually using a liquid cooled engine. Scratch that. They're actually using an air cooled engine, and it's much inferior compared to a liquid cooled one. Liquid cooled one is going to be much more powerful, and the 190X is basically using the same engine as the ones found in your school. So BBDC and SSDC actually use the CB190R, which uses a air-cooled 190cc engine, same as the CB190X. Yeah. So I would recommend that bike if you like the school bike, school bike's engine, on a more touring friendly frame. Recommend that for my tall lads out there. Okay. Other than that, for touring, I really can't think of any other bike. There are, I believe, from other brands. I don't think Yamaha has it. Yeah, but that's what I think it is, lah. These two bikes from Honda. It's my recommendation list. That's because these two bikes I know and I can think of at this current moment. And then the next class of bikes for 2B riders, which I really don't recommend. Just for the reason because you can't change gears on them, is basically your scooters. So your Aerox, your you're from Yamaha, and then your PCXs from your Honda, all are going to be automatic motorcycles. So it's really, I don't really recommend it, just because you just started your riding journey, and if you straight away go for automatic motorcycle, it's kind of defeats the purpose of you going through all that hardship of changing gear and getting your license. So please, if you can, try not to get a scooter. But if you don't give a damn and or you just want to get from point A to B, don't really like changing gears, then by all means go get them. Get the scooters. They are by far the most comfortable motorcycles in the class. They have storage under the seat, and of course you don't have to change gears, so you can just keep cruising, no problemo. Yeah, so scooters, yeah. So if you really it's hit and miss. Some people really like it. They like scooters, so they get it. I personally don't really like them. I prefer motorcycle that I can change gears on. And yeah, so I think I pretty much covered most of the 2B category of motorcycles. But for a conclusion wise, I would recommend you get a road bike, right? That's really gonna instill confidence in you. It's gonna be very easy for you to ride on, as compared to other type of bikes. Will be approachable. The seat height, I believe, is not going to be much of an issue for most people out there. So a road bike will be the highest tier in my recommendation. So if you want not so powerful easygoing bike, get the CB150 X Motion. If you really want power, please go for the KTM Duke 200. It is a really good engine. It's torquey, so some people may not like it. It's a lot of power right off. So if you want to get a bike which is comfortable and fun, please go for the 200cc bikes. So I'm going to be stopping here first. Yeah, so 200cc bikes are going to be my picks. 200cc road bikes are going to be my pick for class new rider for class 2B. So your Bajaj Pulsar, which I have ridden during my class 2B journey, when I not journey, right, once I got my class 2B license. That was the first bike I rode, and yeah, I wholly recommend it. Yeah.